And welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
You bet. For one last time, the energy is great. Terrific. In the gym in 2024.
I'm not going to say finish that sentence.
Not one last time forever. Just this
It's like,
year.
you better be dying.
Wouldn't that be just ridiculous if that's how I told you?
Yeah, I would.
Like, without actually telling you, we jumped on the pod, and I'm like, so, folks, this is about it for old JP.
Yeah, no, I would never forgive you.
Tough way to hear the news.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then we have to continue the pod, is the thing. Like, we can't stop. We just got to keep going.
Well, that's debatable to you. I would have walked. So.
That would have been it. Well, Beans, it's great to be here. Merry belated Christmas to you.
Yes, as to you.
And, of course, to all of you, beloved watchers and listeners. Appreciate you all. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas holiday. Tremendous stuff. What was a highlight for you over this past Christmas, Beans?
Just being with fam, I guess. That sounds kind of lame. But there wasn't anything I did too crazy.
It's not lame if it's wrong.
Right. I mean, we just hung out with people that we haven't seen in a while.
Yep.
That's good enough for me.
It's a good way to do it.
You know?
Yep.
I sat in a golf cart and drank beer. Was I driving the golf cart? No. It was in my grandpa's garage, but that's where I sat all night.
Nothing wrong with that.
That was fantastic.
Golf carts are sneaky comfortable to sit in. So that sounds like a fantastic spot to crack a few brewskis and be at ease.
A few. Yes, so that was
few dozen.
It was a good time.
That's great.
So yeah, no, I don't need anything crazy.
It's wonderful. A lot of great Lego building in our household. So I think we finally wrapped up today.
Nice.
So there's a lot going on. Saw some fun growth out of the shall we say progenies with their respective Lego building skills. So growing in their abilities to independently build. So the eldest in particular, who is still single digits in years, has grown entirely independent, which is both awesome and also a little disappointing because I really envy the Lego sets that he's building. I'm like, can I get in on that actually? No, I got it. Okay.
See, that's on you. You need to.
That's my fault.
You need to get him mediocre ones,
right?
And then get yourself the cool ones. So then he asks to help you with those.
Oh my gosh, there is
no
doubt.
You gotta play the game.
Yeah.
You gotta play the game.
Yeah, it is funny building Legos with younger kids because our middle child surprised me in that he was able to build a not small portion of one of his Lego sets by himself. But then what ends up happening is this whole attention span thing, right? It wanes. And so he's entirely capable, but then all of a sudden he's just like sliding piece around. It's like, hey, bud, want me to step in? Yep. I come in, build it. He's gone. Come back. Cool. Thanks, Dad. Built this. But excuse me, I was a part of this. You built part of it. Let's understand how this works. So he's taking 100% credit for a portion of the work, but not all of it.
I respect it.
Yeah,
I respect that move.
But no, time with family, as you said, is the best part of that. So appreciate that without question. So all good things. Well, moving on from the holidays, we are just about over the threshold of the new year. So we're going to spend a not small portion of today's pod discussing the year ahead, because there's a lot to look forward to in the year 2025. It's been a couple, as we have talked about, sparse years, and we are headed for a more bountiful harvest, shall we say, on the entertainment front. So a lot to look forward to. Quick programming note, we don't know if we're really going to commit to watching What If Season 3. This is really it for the What If world, so are we that excited about it? No, not really. So don't expect us to give you any particular recap on the What If front.
We will do Creature Commandos.
We'll do Creature Commandos.
That's on the list.
Yep. That is ongoing, soon to wrap. So we'll dive into that bad boy here in the coming weeks.
Sure.
That'll replace What If. We've recapped the last couple of What If seasons, and they've been perfectly fine. But also, let me put it this way, less impactful than the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So take that for whatever it's worth. And by the way, for those of you who are missing the reference, it's because the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special made it abundantly clear that Peter Quill and Mantis are brother and sister. And we don't get anything like that in What If. So there you go.
I still haven't watched that either.
Take that for what it's worth. It's really actually pretty entertaining.
Might have to give
hopes high, but it's entertaining.
Okay, fair enough.
We will recap Kraven the Hunter because one of us saw that, the other one of us did not, which has it built up some strife and some tension in the group? We don't know. That might come out.
It's not. It has. I was lied to my face.
I don't even say lied as much as
it was a blatant lie.
Just misled. And not intentionally so, but we'll get into that. So we'll try and keep our dirty laundry in the hamper without other people having to see it. There's a Superman trailer. Holy shnikes.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's something we can all unify and get behind. So that'll be fun to discuss. And of course, as previously mentioned, our 2025 look ahead in another classic JP and the Beans top 5 for the good people 2025 edition. So without further ado, Beans, let's get into it.
Okay. Yeah, what are we starting with?
We're going to start with Kraven.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So
I thought we were going to get that out of the way.
We are. We're going to get it out of the way. Pardon. I understand that you saw this movie, Beans. I did not.
Okay, here's the deal. Okay, we're not going to spend more than 5 minutes on this.
Okay, yeah, the timer set?
I do have it set. Quick preface.
Yes.
Beforehand. Hold on, where was I going with that?
5 minutes.
I didn't know I got that part.
Kraven. The hunter. Spear.
Oh, yes.
Rhino.
This is going to be not so PG-13.
Mm.
I'm just going to give you that heads up. So if you are sensitive to swear words,
this is a great disclaimer.
it will. It's going to happen.
This is going to be an elite clip.
Like I said, skip 5 minutes ahead. Okay, you just hit the 30-second button a couple of times, and I'll be done. And then I won't talk about the movie. I'll probably talk about Kraven and other aspects. So there we go.
Ready.
Okay, so you guys won't see the timer. It's going to go right now. That was hot garbage. That was so fucking terrible. I have never seen a movie be that big of a turd. That was shit. I don't even know. I can't even comprehend that is what I saw. Here's the deal. I have never had a greater appreciation for audio visual people in my entire life, because here's how the scenes would work. Somebody would be talking, and then the director was like, you know what would be really interesting if we pulled away. So you had no idea who was talking whatsoever. So it pull away. And you'd have this scene, and you'd hear him talk, and you're like, I think I know who's talking, but I'm not 100% sure who's talking. And then they would do this other thing, too, where it was talking, but then they would switch to the other person, and this is just them listening to the person talking. I don't want to see that at all.
No.
Not at all. I don't care.
That's not a thing for a reason.
Here's the best part. Good. The audio with the person talking didn't even always match up. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it was off. Tell me how that works. It doesn't make sense. No, of course not. Okay, Rhino, the guy who plays the Rhino, one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my entire life. Do you know how many times he uttered the phrase, do you want to be my partner? What? 1,200. That was his main line. That was his catchphrase by the end of the movie. Do you want to be my partner? And 9 times out of 10, they'd die. Or they wouldn't partner up with him. It never worked. Okay? It never worked. Look, people weren't super fans of the Rhino. Look, I think it's fine. That was not a problem for me.
Sure.
Because y'all have to understand, if you want a classic Rhino on screen, it's going to look a little clunky. Okay? Now, personally, I think Rhino from Spider-Man PS5, that's the look you should go for. It's got the almost tech armor kind of vibe, and it doesn't look as comedy or comical. Is that the word that I want? Yeah.
We'll go with that.
So that's where we're at with that. Action sequences were the only thing that was good about this movie. Okay?
At least you had that. At least you had action that was semi-worthwhile in an action movie.
And there was a couple times where and Soul can confirm, but it was only during the action sequences, okay? Characters didn't make sense 90% of the time, okay? Because they built up the chameleon. Great. It was cool how they were made him he's always been able to change his voice around for people. Fantastic. And even at the end, they show his face, his actual chameleon face, because he goes and sees Miles Warren, a.k.a.
The Jackal.
The Jackal. Yep. The Jackal is referenced. Really cool throwaway, because that's how the Rhino gets his powers.
Sure.
Because he was always weak, and he's like, I want to be strong. So he goes, and he's like, Rhino DNA. Bam.
So he drinks some Jackal juice, and there you go. He's strong.
Yeah, but then he didn't realize how painful the transformation was.
Well, sure.
So that's why he's pretty much just got this sack of juice on him at all times, so he doesn't turn into the Rhino. Okay.
So it's not a catheter, it's a don't turn into a Rhino bag.
No, but this whole time of the movie, the chameleon is a pussy, okay? He is not like you would think slimy would be a better thing for this character, kind of a weasel, right?
Yep.
Pussy 90% of the time, okay? Him and his dad, he's like, my dad doesn't respect me. That's the whole thing for him. And then what does he do? He ends up taking over Dad's business, which would be, you would think for the character development, the complete opposite of what you would do. It just didn't make logical sense for him to be like,
No, he should be blazing his own trail.
I'm taking the Empire now. It's a crime. He was singing in a bar that his dad bought. That's all he did. That's all he was doing. Okay? I will say,
Karaoke specialist.
the guy who played Kraven, great. Love him.
Yep.
He did fine.
Sure.
I would see him again as Kraven.
Yep.
Bring in the Russian accent. You twat. You sounded weird with an English one, okay? Because guess what? Daddy Dearest had a Russian accent.
Your name is Sergey.
Oh my gosh. So, how much time do I have left? 48 seconds.
You're doing great.
Don't go watch that movie. It's terrible. It's a waste of time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worthwhile. The girl in it, the love interest, if you will.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Their meetup is like very forced. And he's like, hey, like, give me all the criminals you have on file. And she's like, I'm a lawyer. I can't do that. And guess what she does?
She does it.
Here's the files. Blah, blah, blah. Do you have more juice that made me a superhero? No, I don't have any more juice. Kraven almost dies. She has more juice. Oh, weird. Weird how that works. He does get mauled by a lion. That's pretty brutal. And then the juice saves him and then he becomes his super. And yes, Kraven does have superpowers. So don't be like, oh my gosh, he's just a man. No, he's not. Okay? All right, we're done. We're done talking about that shit movie. That's great. 5 minutes are over. Now, let's talk about Kraven, what we should get moving forward, okay?
Right.
If Aaron Taylor Johnson wants to come into Marvel, MCU as Kraven, we'll take it. Sure. Now, I want them to actually, I want Kraven to be more of the guy who just wants to do it for the good of the hunt, if you will. He wants to take on Spider-Man because he's already hunted everything animal-wise in the kingdom. Exactly. Yep. He's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He just lives in that realm.
Yep.
Does he always make the best decisions? No. He's kind of a dick. All right? But that's fine.
Misguided, but not evil like a Carnage evil.
No, because his whole purpose is the thrill of the hunt. Okay? He does not care. He's either going to die trying or he's going to get it. Yep. Okay? He's going to win.
Yep.
It's hardcore. Yes. That's why, if you want good Kraven, good story with Kraven, besides The Last Hunt, which is fantastic, okay, because he does kind of win. If you want to see the villain win, Kraven does do it. He pulls that shit off. Okay? But Spider-Man PS5, Spider-Man 2 for the PS5, I've talked about it before on this podcast.
Right.
That is Kraven the Hunter. 100%. This man comes in, he has cancer, which you don't find out until like through the game. And that's why he's in New York, because that's why he's going after Spider-Man, because he wants somebody to kill him. And he's not even actually going after Spider-Man specifically. New York is where all of the meta-human, superhero, supervillains are.
Kind of the nexus for that. Yep.
He's looking for somebody in that pool of people who kill him.
Correct.
Okay? Because it is looked at as cowardice if cancer kills him. So that's his whole thing. And you want to know who kills him? Everything in that? Venom. Venom chomps his head off, and that's how he dies. Okay? And even his kids are trying to kill each other in the name of Kravenoff because it's the survival of the fittest. It's the strongest. They want to hunt each other. He hunts humans all the time. Like, that is Kraven the Hunter. All right? Don't waste your time with this shit movie. That director, by the way, I have looked up his movie catalog. You won't hear of any of them. That's why. Sony could not find an actually decent director. No offense to you, dude. You're not good. All right? And it's not your fault. It's Sony's fault because they put you in
the seat.
Correct.
Yep.
They wanted you to fail. They didn't give you anything to work with. Right. You probably do well on those like weird indie films. Congrats to you. Okay, that's what you need to stick with. These action movies are not for you, and that's okay. All right, I'm not gonna call you out as a person, but you sucked at your job. All right. So my point is, and we'll talk about this later. I hope to God that was the nail in the coffin for Sony.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it's not, because I said it's better than Morbius. Here's the deal: the difference between the two. Kraven, better action sequences. Morbius, I was actually somewhat intrigued through at least halfway through the movie, and then they rushed everything, and that was a story problem.
Right.
This is, it had nothing problem. Right? Kraven, the whole premise in this is because of his dad, he's going after gangsters essentially and killing gangsters.
Sure.
Fine premise. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Anywho, so I'm hoping if he gets integrated to Spider-Man, I don't even want the last hunt really. I would almost want like.
No, he's one of those great adversaries in that he's not the pinnacle adversary of the most. He's not evil personified, but he's a terrific recurring adversary, sometimes ally, or he could be because he doesn't outright hate Spider-Man. As you said, he is motivated by the challenge, the thrill of the hunt. And so when he sees Spider-Man as that worthy adversary, that's what motivates him to go after Spider-Man. But it's not hard to imagine a world where Kraven and Spider-Man team up because, hey, there's someone that's outside of Spider-Man's ability to take down alone. He talks to Kraven and goes, my guy, what if we partnered on this seemingly unstoppable force and took him down? Wouldn't that be a worthy adversary? So there's all kinds of value in tying a character like Kraven into the Spider-Man world. He should be a part of that. Like, that's terrific. That's terrific. And it's one of those alliances that wouldn't be forced. And then as soon as the task is accomplished, okay, we're back to being mostly enemies, right?
Right.
So there is without question a path to Kraven having a long-standing place in Spider-Man movies.
Right. And he's part of the Sinister Six. He was one of the founding members, ends up leaving because of his mutual respect for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And is like, yeah, the same for me. Great. But I honestly want the Spider-Man PS5 almost storyline rather than but like when watching 90s Spider-Man, that cartoon.
Sure.
That's kind of how it goes. He goes from villain and then they realize, oh, the potion that gave him his powers is kind of dinking around with his head, and they kind of get to him, and he becomes a good guy. Right. And then obviously he can still go berserk and stuff. But like they figure it out with him, and he does help Spider-Man more often than not. Which, if that's a path you want to go to, fine. I think he lives perfectly in the gray area. Yep. You don't have to go super bad guy. You don't have to go super good guy. Now, his brother, Chameleon, should stay bad guy, 100%. Mm-hmm. I don't care to see that guy as a hero. Mm-hmm. It did bring up a really cool concept for him coming in. I actually prefer him to have like actual superpowers instead of like hey,
he's just a jacked up dude.
Right.
Yep.
Like I don't want the Mysterio vibes with his face. Nope. Just give me that one. Makes sense to me. Make it genetic. I'm fine with that. But
no question. Well, how on earth, truly, how on earth can Sony be a partner in that Spider-Man 2 game that came out in 2023? All right, this is 2024, so we're a year separate. That tells a phenomenal Kraven Hunter story, and yet they can't put together a competent, not even a great, but they can't put together a real live competent story in their live action movie they have entire agency and control over. Like, if that's not the most, like, if that's not exhibit A of evidence as to why Sony should not be making these movies, I don't know what is, because you just go right down the hall to your gaming division and go, hey, talk to us about this Kraven character. What went well here? What parts can we take into the movie? They didn't do any of that.
You know, I thought about it too. I was like, why don't the writers of that game come in and write the movie?
Right.
But then again, I'm like, I don't want to pull you away from the games because you guys are doing such a good job. I don't want you to go anywhere else. That's selfish, but you're going to be making probably a lot more money with that video game than you will be for Sony's universe.
Right. And the reason that I didn't get to see Kraven in this past week and a half is because, thanks to the holidays, I went with young family, to Sonic the Hedgehog 3. There's another movie that's based off of, a video game. So by rights, shouldn't even be on the same level, shouldn't be as good. But it was a good movie. And the first Sonic movie was really good. And I've done the weird thing where I still haven't seen the second one, but I digress. Point is, you have a Sega-based character that's able to put together a comprehensive, competent, I'm not saying it's Oscar-worthy, of course, but it's a competent movie. It's a storyline that you can follow. It has characters that are developed, that grow and change throughout the course of the story. It has action sequences that are engaging. It has, by golly, Jim frickin' Carrey. They managed to cast that guy in 3 of these movies.
That was the smartest thing they could have done, I think.
There is no doubt, and he has brought so much to them. But the point is, Sonic the Hedgehog can get 3 competent movies. Sony can't put one together. It's incredible.
And you think, honestly, Sonic is what's set the tone for video game movies, because before that, I'm trying to think of like what we've had, really.
Yeah, because Super Mario Bros. That movie came out after
and that was
Sonic movie.
That was good.
That was very good. Yep.
And I think they realized, we have a really good franchise here. Let's take our time with this and actually make a quality movie. But do you remember the live?
Ralph really doesn't count because that's a early '90s arcade.
Right, and it was its own separate thing. It wasn't a video game actually beforehand. But look, do you remember the live-action Mario Brothers movie? The one that is like notoriously known for being terrible?
Fortunately, have never subjected myself.
I haven't either. I know it has a small cult following because it's a weird freaking movie like that. But if you look at that, just look up what the Goombas look like. Look up what Bowser looked like. And you're going to be like, oh, I can see why this movie did not succeed the way that people thought it was. And you just don't get a lot of good video game movies. And I think Sonic paved the way. Because did Detective Pikachu come out after that too?
I think you're right.
So, and that one, I don't know how that was. I actually have the movie, never watched it. But, sorry, Tanner. But that didn't seem like that got terrible reviews from what I remember. So you can do it. You can.
Well, and there's more and more of that variety of content, right? Like you have Borderlands that came out this past year, neither of us saw that.
But, and that was not good.
No,
that
but
was
then
well received.
The Last of Us has been turned into a really well received HBO show.
And see, the difference I think between those two is Borderlands is so much going on in that game, and with
Fallout on Amazon Prime,
that one's actually really surprisingly doing well.
Yeah, and those are more. Now we're drifting into the certainly adult-themed video games where Sonic and Mario Bros. Are, younger kids or at least family-friendly kind of fare. But the point is, it can be done. You can make a quality movie based on
The Witcher,
this type of content.
Witcher's in the good side, Halo's in the bad side, from what I understand.
Boy, that's a weird one.
Yeah,
that's a really weird one.
Anyways, it's not even about the video game. If you have that character that is well beloved with a good enough story, you can do it. But they just have not.
Right.
There's nothing there for these characters. They're just like Madam Web, yes. Kraven, yes. Morbius, yes.
Well, and for Sony to have had 3 movies come out this year, and for every single one of them to just be complete and utter failures, both critically and financially and audience-wise. There's no person carrying a torch for any of these movies going, hey, that was great. Venom was tough. Adam Webb, yikes. Kraven, holy smokes. And what's a little scary here is, on the one hand, Sony is saying, hey, we're going to press pause. That's encouraging. But the scary part is they're also publicly saying from the top, we don't understand why these aren't working. These aren't bad movies.
They're terrible movies.
I understand that it is hard to publicly take the slings and arrows. Sure. But you already are. So if you cannot honestly, in other words, you have a free pass to just say, agreed, this isn't very good. We're going to get better.
Or sell.
Do you know how
sell
how
for the love
easy
of
that would be? No doubt. That's the right path. But it's terrifying to me that they are expressing publicly ignorance as to why it's not working. It's not a mystery. It's not. And if you can't acknowledge that, that's why we're getting what we're getting. But if they're not going to sell, then nothing's changing.
Think about this. We got Kraven the Hunter this year.
Yep.
And we had Venom 3 from Sony. Venom, well-known character, you shouldn't have any problems doing a Venom movie. Okay. DC releases the Penguin, a B-tier Batman villain. Kick ass.
Phenomenal.
Nailed it.
Phenomenal.
insanely
Great production value.
Yes, it's crazy how good that is. And that's a B-tier villain.
And that's 8 hours essentially worth of storytelling. They can't put together a 2-hour movie.
Right.
Oof.
So, it's like, imagine what they're going to do with an A-tier, right? So, like,
quite tough.
I mean,
Quite
Riddler,
tough.
I guess, is good. But yeah, those Kraven, Morbius, those movies they're not meant to do well. They're just not. They are ways to keep the Marvel or the Spider-Man brand with them. That's exactly what it is. They don't care if it's good. They'll never come out and say that they don't care it's good. They clearly do not care that it's good.
It's pretty clear.
Tom Hardy looked miserable in Venom 3.
Correct. He was done. Yeah. He was completely done. To segue in the news segment, here's why I'm okay with this next bit of news. Not thrilled, but at peace with it. So Batman 2, the next Matt Reeves Batman film, has officially been delayed till the year 2027. I'm okay with that in the sense of, if that's what it takes, more time to get the story right, so that when we do get the sequel, it's as outstanding, it's as on par or on the same level as the first movie. Great. Take your time. That's fine. Because I would rather that. Now, obviously, my preference is for it to have not been delayed, right? 2026 sounds like a great year for another Batman movie. But if it's going to be delayed, as long as the end result is on that same level of quality, hey, I would rather that than these studios that are pumping out microwaved, undercooked flicks. Because certainly I'll wait another year if that's what it means.
Well, and even if they want to continue to just add to the Batman verse while they're waiting for that, right?
Yep.
And they can always move the date back.
There's no doubt.
If they're making good progress on it.
Sure.
You know, there's another rumor, we didn't talk about this, but that Robert Pattinson would be willing to be the DCU Batman.
Right.
Pull the trigger on that, as far as I'm concerned, do it.
Yep.
That way you don't even have to think about casting a different Batman.
Sure.
And he did.
Yep.
He did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Him and Superman are kind of at the same starting points right now. That's perfect.
Sure.
If Robert Pattinson wants to play Batman for the next 10, 15 years, let the guy do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's a fantastic actor. So it's just, like you said, they're not going to half bake it.
No.
It kind of falls in the Spider-Verse third one, where the date keeps getting pushed back to the point where it's just not on the table right now.
Right.
Fine. I know we all know how long that movie takes to make.
Yep. Correct.
It'll be fantastic when it's done.
Correct.
I'm not worried about that movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there are some movies or projects that get delayed, which can be a precursor to it just never exists. It never gets made. Yep. That's a great, most recent example. That's not what either of these cases are. These are movies that we are going to see. It's just a matter of when. And we've been so spoiled in this past, decade plus of having this expanse of content and the rapidity of great Marvel movie after great Marvel after great Marvel movie, that it's just not normal. And Marvel hasn't, as we've, again, talked about so many times, not been able to keep up that pace. And so it takes a reorientation of expectations to go, actually what the normal is for there to be several years between the first of a series and the next movie, because it takes time. At least it should take time. So no rush, because when we get it, we just want it to be great.
Exactly.
So that's all we're asking.
Yep. Agreed.
Yep. No question. Cool. Well, good. That essentially covers our news recap for the pod. Thank you for seeing Kraven the Hunter. I owe you the next movie we go to. I'm going to buy your ticket and at least one concession item, because I owe you for taking that bullet for the team. God bless you.
Luckily I did not go by myself, but
no question.
I had Soul with me.
No question.
And
better to be miserable with someone than solo.
We looked at each other a couple of times and we're like, what is
happening?
Dude, there is okay, before we move on.
Oh, do it.
There's one scene with the rhino. I just have to address this, okay? I said I was done, but this is so bad that it almost needs its own conversation point, okay? So they're like, the Rhino's minion comes in. And by the way, this is a sign of terrible dialogue, is when they tell you exactly what's happening and they're not showing it, right? So he comes in there, he's like, hey, Kraven is loose or something like that. And it's just the Rhino looking out the window and he just goes, ah! And he goes on into his line. The laugh had nothing to do with anything whatsoever.
Wow.
I couldn't figure out why it was in there. I literally looked at Soul and I was like, what the hell was that? It's like he's trying to be like crazy, like he had a little bit of crazy in him.
Right.
But literally, dude,
it was just throwaway. There was no editing till he...
Just like he was trying something, and then the director's like, that didn't work, and then they forgot to take it out.
Oh.
Anyways, done with that movie.
Oh.
I gave it an extra 30 seconds that I shouldn't have. So,
all good things.
2025. That's looking interesting.
Doesn't it?
We got some hope.
Doesn't it, though?
Stupid.
Let's get into it. So here's our 2025 look ahead. I'm going to go fairly rapid fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go through this list, what has been, you have to refresh my old decaying brain here. What has been our standard for qualifying a movie of, hey, looking forward to it, disinterested? What's that marker been?
I think we always went off of expectations.
Yep.
So like, this will exceed expectations.
Sure,
I think this is going to be a banger. This is going to be terrible. This is not going to meet expectations at all.
And let's throw a nervous category in there too.
Yeah, so maybe we go. I think we did boom and bust, correct?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a boom,
bust.
This is going to be a bust,
There you are.
And then neutral ground. Okay,
that's great. All right, so we're just going to go through this chronologically. This is not comprehensive in terms of everything that's coming out in 2025. These are simply flicks that I picked out that I thought were at least worth mentioning, and then we'll narrow it down here a little bit. So, January 29th, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man comes out on Disney Plus, animated TV show. Trailer just dropped, I think earlier this week for the show. I am like super neutral.
I am as well.
Not boom or bust, just like, okay, it exists.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not excited for this, really, to be honest with you. I saw the trailer today. I'm just like, I don't know if this is for me.
Yep.
I just don't think
it is. No, I don't think
it's supposed to be for us.
Right.
I think it's to get to the new generation into Spider-Man. That's great. Fantastic.
Right? Because is there a good superhero show right now for that younger generation? There's been movies, but is there an actual ongoing superhero show?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think there is.
Well, I mean, everything. I don't even know what's on like Disney anymore or Nick. So to have this just be a straight to stream,
is always out there. They're constantly recycling those characters into fresh iterations.
And for that was just a continuation of the movie that came out. So, yeah, no, I don't. Not that I can think of. I mean, it's like we said, it's a good starting off point for a kid who's like, Spider-Man looks cool.
Right. Well, you think about all the animated shows that have come out in the 90s and early 2000s that we've talked about, right? You've got the Spider-Man animated series, Superman, Justice League.
Yeah.
The Avengers have had a couple different iterations on the animated front. And we could go on and on. The X-Men series, it's a little strange to me that there hasn't been a Marvel or DC kids show that has gained purchase and notoriety, right? Like you have the movies and they're great, but it just seems like a missed opportunity. I mean, obviously like Star Wars, Clone Wars, but that's its own, again, Star Wars is not superhero genre. Well, there's similarities, but
I know for like Spider-Man, the 90s series is really regarded. The Spectacular Spider-Man had like 2 or 3 seasons and everybody's like, this is amazing. Sure. So Spider-Man's had a couple. Obviously, you have the X-Men from the 90s that everybody loved, and they brought that back. And so you have that. And then, Justice League. And
Batman's had
the animated series, yes. Justice League.
It's just like it's been more animated movies recently, like in the last decade plus than any, show or shows that have really, again, gained much in the way of traction.
And who knows? We could be wrong because we don't have kids that age. You know what I mean? Wes might be getting into that full swing.
There's nothing currently out there. And it's kind of bizarre because comics lend themselves in some ways better to a TV show model than
I would agree with that entirely.
Movies.
I would entirely agree with that.
It made all the sense that these comic characters were being produced over and over again as different, reincarnations of TV shows. So it's very odd to me that that's not currently a thing.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
Anyway, I would like to see that take off, but no, not something that I'm going to necessarily target for myself. Okay, Captain America: Brave New World. Mark your calendars. Valentine's Day. Okay, hashtag nervous on this one. Yes.
I don't want to say bust.
No,
but I'm feeling bust. I really am. Look, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the gap between the recent trailer and like the movie coming out, and there's just kind of this ugh in the air. But I just don't. I don't know. I get worried about it for sure.
Sure. I think where this movie would get harmed is if you have high expectations for it. True. Yeah. I think you're going to get disappointed if your expectations are high. I think if you're able to go in with modest expectations, like, hey, I hope I'm entertained, I think you'll be okay. That's my hope at this stage. I do not have high expectations for this movie. I just think the character of Sam Wilson is being put in a pretty challenging spot.
Yep, I would agree with that.
And again, we've talked about this, the partnering of Red Hulk as at least what is being shown to us as the primary adversary. Now, where this movie is going to improve on expectations is if we have an adversary or adversaries that aren't being explicitly shown in the trailer, which we know that is the case.
Yes.
But if those adversaries can take off and be really worthwhile opponents, then we've got something here. But if they are just focused on Red Hulk, I just don't think that's going to work very well.
And that's where I get worried.
Yeah.
Is that it almost feels like, yes, we've only seen the Red Hulk, but it almost feels like they are going to have too much to juggle. Because, they have the leader is confirmed to be in this movie. That's going to be the main bad probably. But they also have like the Serpent Society off on the side too. That's not going to be
Esposito.
Right. And a couple other people that they hinted at. And so to have that and then have the leader and then have the Red Hulk where he's probably going to be, they're going to fight for sure. They've already teased it.
Yep.
So it's like, where is this going to live?
Yep.
And, oh, jeez, and on top of just where we're at, I just don't know how this is going to go.
Yep.
So
hopefully, I hope it's not a bust. Set my expectations at a modest level and hopeful that we'll enjoy it. Okay, moving on. Daredevil, Born Again.
Boom.
Hello.
Boom.
March 4th.
Press the boom button as hard as possible.
All caps. All caps.
This is over. I'm over the moon. We don't even have to get too much into this. This is just going to be very successful, and I already have.
Can't wait to see it. And we haven't even had a trailer for this show yet. Like, we've had the tease that got tied into the Disney look ahead that, that trailer came out, I think, a month ago now.
Right.
And that's wild. Like, we are almost into 2025 and we haven't had a single trailer for that show. That's got to be imminent. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, you think that you're saving it for the national title?
Sure. Okay, I could see that. Yeah,
because that'll be in January.
As all as possible.
Yeah,
and there's some, I don't know how you navigate that as Marvel when you're obviously first and foremost focused on getting eyeballs onto your next feature film, and you don't want to detract from that. So it's kind of a weird conflict. They already dropped their trailer. Yeah. I'm just saying they don't want to take attention away. Like, you only can put so many things on the airwaves at once. Anyway, Daredevil Born Again, big boom. Okay, I just put this one in there mostly for the laughs because I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this. It looks genuinely horrible.
Have you heard everything that was happening with this movie? The fact that you put this on here is insane.
Just for laughter. Snow White, March 21st.
Bust to the 100th
gosh. Degree. What is Disney doing with these terrible live-action adaptations?
Here's a question.
What are they doing?
How's Mufasa doing right now?
Probably not super well.
Because I know Sonic's blowing it out of the water.
Yeah.
I can already tell you that. Yeah. I was just curious on what that audience meter is. Because here's the deal with Mufasa. I haven't heard jack crap about that movie coming out at all. That was poorly marketed.
Yeah.
And so who knows with that? Yeah. But
no, it's not being well received.
Of course it's not. Quit.
No.
Quit! There's another one on here that pisses me off that we're getting. Okay? So we'll get there. So anyways, there you go. Yeah, terrible. That's going to be a bust. Why did they even make that movie?
I don't know. I do know because of dollars. Here's what's really unfortunate. When Disney, let's see, it's been probably about 10 years. I'm trying to think of when the live action adaptation train first left the station. When they first started this, like I remember Cinderella came out, Beauty and the Beast came out, and those are both really well done. Like those are good, objectively good movies. Whether or not those are your cup of tea or not, okay. Those were really outstanding movies. And they just haven't. What's really weird is it's their material, and it's like they're ashamed of their material as they've continued to make these.
Well,
movies.
Especially with Snow White, they were from what all the things they were saying about that.
In every regard, like with Little Mermaid, with Aladdin, with
I forgot they made that one.
Yep, the Lion King live adaptation, and again, live being heavy air quotes because it's still all animated. It's just CGI. Okay. It's really strange that a company that made these great pieces of entertainment and stories is acting embarrassed of them while they're remaking them. It's like, if you're embarrassed of it, just don't touch it. Don't make it. Just leave it as is. But if you're going to make it, like, don't be apologizing for it while you're making it.
And here's another thing. And this is where it really just gets me.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe you might have one, but out of the live action remakes that you've seen, do you prefer any of them over the original animated movie?
That's a great question. It's kind of easy for me to say Cinderella because that cartoon is ancient and a little goofy, and this live action adaptation was grown up. But I totally get where you're coming from. Like, have they done it better?
No,
they have not.
No,
they have not.
It's still. I think most people would say, "Oh, well, I'm going to watch the animated movie. Yep. It's just classic. It's got this nice thing." Like, I'll be honest. If they're like, "Yeah, let's do live action Bambi," nobody wants to see that. Don't ruin Bambi.
Live action Dumbo.
Yeah, that was a fail. That's another one I forgot you did.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god. Gee, we could go down the list of poor Disney live action adaptations of their own stuff.
It's just super unfortunate.
Here's where I'm at with it. Make new animated movies because Disney has not been Disney in years.
It's been weird.
Yeah. So,
it's been very weird.
And that's why we're getting Toy Story frickin' 5.
Yikes.
After they've ended the franchise with 2 movies. And they're like, you know what we would do again? Bring it back and then end it again.
Yeah.
Easy way. Stop it.
Correct. Yeah. Stop acting like Sony. You're not. All right. Andor. Season number 2, April 22nd.
Still haven't seen the first season.
Worthwhile whenever you choose to get around to it. I read a fascinating article that stated Disney has spent, and this is a real number, $645 million on this production.
Well, dang.
Holy balls,
well,
dude.
That better be a boom.
Holy balls. I frankly, I don't think there are that many people that watched season 1. And that's not a diss on season 1. It was fantastic, but it was a very slow burn. It took time for it to become worthwhile. Like, I had to say, I am committed to getting through 3 episodes. And fortunately, by the end of episode 3, great, it got me hooked. But episodes 1 and 2 is like, all right, I'm intrigued, but I'm also on the verge of jumping ship here. So you better do something worthwhile. And the point of this article, which I thought was really worthwhile, that's why I bring it up, is, listen, when you are spending that much money on one movie, or in this case, one TV series, here's the problem with that. You have a limited amount of resources and time and energy. That means other shows, other movies aren't getting an opportunity. And that's absolutely right. I don't think, having watched Andor season 1, that there's any reason why another season of that show should be spending that kind of money. That's wild. All that being said, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it should be a boom.
Should be a boom.
Yeah, it should be. If you're putting that much money in it, I hope so. God.
I'm not going to get distracted by how the sausage is made. Just let the sausage be tasty. All right. The Accountant 2, April 25th. This is just for me, really. I saw that.
I didn't even know this got a sequel.
No, right. Totally didn't either. Did you see the first Accountant movie?
Yeah.
Oh, you had seen it?
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, it's with Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, John Bernthal.
Yes, it's been a long time since I've seen it.
J.K. Simmons is in there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, who else is in there? Isn't John Lithgow? I think he's in there as well.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who's all in it, but I do remember some of it. Because he's just a hitman, right?
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
like the premise is Ben Affleck is a hitman.
Yep. It's a sneaky good flick. Like, not one that's going to end up on anybody's top 10 movies of all time kind of list. But one that you watch and you go, I'm glad I watched that movie. Anna Kendrick was in the first one. I don't think she's going to be in the sequel. Who am I forgetting? Jeffrey Tambor, my guy. He was in it as well. So really solid movie. That's coming out in April on the 25th. If you didn't see the first one, you got some time. Check it out. I imagine the second one should be pretty solid as well. All right. Thunderbolts.
This will be a boom.
May 2nd. Boom.
100% boom. I'm excited for this one way more than I am with Captain America. So, this will be tight. Should be tight.
Here's a question for you. Do we think that the asterisk, do you think it's just going to be the Avengers? Like at the end of the movie, they're going to take the asterisk away. They're going to say the Avengers.
No.
I think they're going to do that.
I think the asterisk implies is that they are not officially on the books.
Sure.
And so afterwards, the asterisks will be pulled because they are official underneath the government as far as they are aware.
Yeah.
So I think they are black ops as black ops can get.
Yep.
And then after they prove that they are worthwhile, either the U.S. government after Captain America comes in and is like, yes. Or she gets a deal done and also has a backdoor deal because she's not
Val's crafty.
Yes, and she's not necessarily a good person, okay?
Oh, no, 100% no.
So she could definitely be going the Hydra route. We don't really know. So I think she's going to have her own motives, but I think that's where the asterisk comes in play, is that they're not official. They're not an official team like the Avengers or the Guardians of the Galaxy. They know who they are. They are established. These guys have to work very covert, very secret ops.
I'm so excited for this collection of characters.
It's going to be good.
Should be a blast. Yep, should be a lot
Especially
of
fun. If Taskmaster dies within the first 5 minutes.
I think he might.
To the real...
She might.
It would be even better if it was to the real one.
It'd be incredible. All right, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. No longer The Reckoning Part 2, now it's The Final Reckoning, May 23rd. Boom me. Boom me right up.
I'll give it to you.
Excited for this.
I'll toss that one to you. You can have the boom.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to receive that. I truly hope, one little thing here, let this be the last Mission Impossible movie. I know they're calling it The Final Reckoning, so it just reeks of the end. It should be. It's time to be done. These have been great. I'm not saying they have lagged in quality, but it's time to, let's close the book while we're still winning.
Know when to end.
Yep. Let's not pull in Aaron Rodgers and go, the New York Jets? Absolutely. No, you're done.
Be done.
You're done. Yep. All right. Hey, I think this is the one you were referencing. Lilo and Stitch.
I hope it busts. I hope it's a major bust. Stitch is my favorite Disney character, to the surprise of no one, probably. No.
Help me understand this animated movie. Okay, where is it for you on the Disney movies that you saw as a youth? Is this up at the top?
Lilo and Stitch is my favorite growing up.
That's amazing.
That's my favorite Disney movie.
This I totally never seen the animated movie because it came out at a time when I was old enough that I wasn't at the time. Right, it was too cool to watch a Disney animated movie. Now I would 100% watch it, but I've not gotten around to it.
When I was a kid, they had the first one came out. It was awesome.
Yes.
Really good story. That's gonna be the best. That's gonna be the best quality movie you get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lilo and Stitch 2 comes out. That was more of a direct to movie.
Yep.
Direct to DVD. I'm sure you can find all of these on Disney Plus. That one because Stitch is experiment 626, so there are 625 before him that are also alien experiments. So number 2 introduces one of his cousins, okay, and then they do a TV show with all of the cousins.
Right.
Each episode is 10 minutes long, introduces a different cousin to Hawaii. So Hawaii is just full of aliens and no one gives a crap. That's literally what that show is, okay? And then they do a third one, and there's a 627, so the one that comes after Stitch, and then they just have a full-on fight.
It's amazing.
And that's the third one, okay? The fact that I know all of that is insane. But here we are.
He left an impression and a positive like that.
Honestly, you can ignore the rest of the lore. The first one is the only important one. Great movie.
Incredible. It's incredible.
So it's not a movie that needed a live action remake.
Would you be okay if the live action remake is good? Would that make you happy, or are you going, hey, I just don't want this to exist?
It doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Look, I understood when Disney was like, you know what, let's take Snow White, let's take Cinderella, let's take Sleeping Beauty, let's make these live action movies, because these aren't stories that have been told since 1960.
Yep, very old.
This was 2003?
Close, 02.
2002? Wow, look at me.
You were right. You were right there. I was impressed.
I might have a skill with that. But so that was 2002.
Sign up for a carnival
so
right now.
We're 22 years out. Like, yes, it's been a good margin of time, but go to any Disney park. What is one of the most attracted characters in all of Disney? It is Stitch by a mile and a half. Stitch has this weird cult following, almost like Nightmare of Christmas, right? That one's definitely a weirder cult of Disney fans.
Yep.
Don't even get started on those ones.
I won't.
You can pick those out of a crowd, by the way. just so you know. But
easily recognizable.
Yes, this is one of their more top. So I guess I understand, but at the same time, why don't you just stick to animated?
What's odd to me about the timing of this is Lilo and Stitch. This has such a similar aesthetic to Moana, which is currently, we have Moana and we have Moana 2.
I didn't even think about it that way.
I'm pretty sure they're in the process of making a live action Moana movie.
Which again, and why do we need that?
Which we don't. We certainly don't. But I think they're going to have a real hard time. Hope I'm wrong. But it seems like there's just this awkward overlap of, hey, these are a little too similar. And so there's going to be a little cannibalization that takes place here. Now, I say that, and this may be a completely wrong argument, because no, these movies aren't coming out at the same time, but all the Moana merch that's out there, now you're going to try and push Lilo and Stitch merch at the same time. It just seems like a conflict. I don't think you get ahead. In other words, the timing is just...
Yeah, when you think about it that way, it is definitely interesting, especially because they both take place in Hawaii. So, yeah, I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Okay. From the world of John Wick, Ballerina on June 6th with Ana Neramas. I mean, she's a badass. She's fantastic.
And she's good looking too.
That doesn't hurt either. So they've cast it well. As a person who has seen the first John Wick movie, and I think that's it. What are your thoughts here?
Oh, I've seen all 4 John Wick movies.
Yeah, I know they've all been well received.
I am a big John Wick fan.
Absolutely.
I love John Wick.
Yep.
Now, they did a prequel series already to that John Wick, I believe. Never watched it. I heard it was kind of...
just okay.
Yes.
Yep.
If John makes an appearance, I'm down. We'll see if he makes an appearance.
Let's say he doesn't.
I don't know if they do John Wick 5.
Right.
So, I don't want to get into the spoilies, okay? So... semi-interested. I would like to see a trailer, and I'd like to see, like, is this going to be, like, on Hulu? Like, where's it on? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I think it's a theatrical release.
Oh, it's a movie?
Correct.
I thought it was a show.
Straight up film.
I am more willing to go watch that then. Yeah. Because I thought it was, because I believe they did a show called The Continental, I think was the show. Right. And it was a prequel for one of the main guys from John Wick, not John Wick himself, but the guy who ends up being in charge of the Continental. Funny how that works. So no, if that's a movie, boom. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I trust it, especially if first of all, the John Wick universe is so underrated in how they world build with that, with just this like secret society of assassins that... like,
it seems like there's plenty to mine there, right? Like, John Wick is the character that's obviously been focused on the sake of these 4 movies, but it's not hard to imagine there being I'm going to call it an expansion of, hey, we're going to explore this character or that character. So I totally get it. So I'm going to say boom with a lowercase b as someone who hasn't, again, seen all the John Wick movies, but I'm, well enough aware to understand that they have a well-deserved following. So that's great.
And for them to be able to do what you were talking about, this needs to do well.
Sure.
So, because I love John Wick being the Baba Yaga throughout the whole thing, the boogeyman, like the baddest of the bad.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, they've done such a great job at world building between the other 3 movies where you're right. You can do one where it's set in Tokyo, Japan, because guess what? The fourth one, they go to Japan, and they have a continental there, and there's continental set up all over the world.
Yep.
And so, yeah, no, it's a really interesting premise. I would be really curious to see a John Wick prequel with John, just because of what his life would have been before he found the girl.
Yeah, I enjoy Ana de Armas quite a bit. Like, she's been in a whole variety of flicks, and
she'll be fine. Yeah. She'll be good.
Yeah. So if the movie doesn't work, it's not going to be on account of. No, she certainly won't be. Certainly won't be the problem. Also, a little shout out here to Keanu, my guy. Did well in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So he voiced Shadow.
Oh yeah,
it was great.
What's
that man in every?
It's a good fit.
Every animated film that you can sign him up for, possibly. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, continuing to move on. How to Train Your Dragon live action on June 13th. Whoa, boom, my friend.
I'll say this is
Gerard is in it.
Yeah, I don't care.
I love it.
Be a bust.
I love it. It's gonna be a boom. This is completely wrong.
I'm sorry, but this just goes into the whole discussion we had with Disney doing this stuff. They just wrapped their animated. Right? No, they just wrapped their animated movies with this franchise, and they're like, you know what? Let's do it again. I don't know. I'm calling bust right now. It's like, here's the other thing. Fine. It's like you know how they're remaking the Harry Potter TV show now?
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for it. Bust.
Yeah, I feel differently about that one as well.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Sorry, I'm calling bust right now.
All right, that's our first disagreement on this list. That's okay.
I don't believe in it.
I think it's going to look great. I think the story is super fun. Really, all they have to do is to be successful is not try and do anything different. So I'm excited. How to Train Your Dragon, June 13th.
Boo to live action.
Ironheart, June 24th. Finally getting this one.
I think this is going to be a boom.
I do too.
That's bold.
Oh, I do too.
But the Hood's in it, and I'm very optimistic about the Hood. So
I think it's going to be entertaining.
You know, it'd be really great. Yeah. And I don't know if he's going to be in it or not. If the Kingpin's in this,
sure. You talked about John Wick as the boogeyman. Like, just keep dropping the Kingpin in all these shows as the boogeyman.
I think he fits.
There's no doubt.
He fits for this.
There's no doubt.
So it's not like it would be a forced fit. I literally just thought about this. Please put Vincent D'Onofrio in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think to see him have this like almost turf war with the Hood would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, this is boom, and we haven't had good quality Iron Man-esque fun in Marvel since Endgame. So it's been a while. So yeah, I'm all in, all aboard.
I think there's an opportunity here for these. I know what you mean. I think there's some opportunity here with these Disney Plus shows to wisely incorporate these ground level characters into each other's shows, not in a way that takes, is excessive in the amount of screen time that these other characters get, but drop them in there for an episode. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Just increases that connectivity that we enjoy, keeps us engaged with the characters that we love, enhances the world that the primary character of the show is in. Doesn't hurt a dang thing.
Yeah, no,
keep it up.
I agree.
All right. F1 on June 27th. Now, this is one of those, this one doesn't seem to be like the others kind of category. Brad Pitt starring in this one, and I believe it's Idris Elba's son is the co-star of the flick. I'm really intrigued by this one because we talked earlier, I dropped how the sausage is made. How this particular sausage was made fascinates me. So they made this movie shooting real F1 races on real F1 race tracks. This could be a lot of fun to watch. So, and audio visual wise could be an absolute treat. No idea if the story is going to be worth a turd, but could be a really cool, kind of sneaky, popcorn flick kind of movie where you go see it once and you go, that was fantastic. Never going to see it again, but I'm glad I saw it that time. So there you go. I'm calling boom on F1 June 27th. This makes me laugh so much. Jurassic World Rebirth, July 2nd.
I know, I thought we were done.
What in the world?
I thought we were done.
So, and the reason I included it in our list, because you and I haven't seen the recent Chris Pratt films, correct? Okay. What I know about those films, there were 3. As they were released, the first one was really well received. That's true. I saw the first one, and it was fine. The second and third films were received with less and less let's say, warmth. Okay. They weren't as good, in other words, and they were produced a bit hastily, which is not a great thing in general, particularly when your movie hinges on CGI dinosaurs. Got to make them look great. Got to have great action sequences. Got to have a story that makes some sense. This is why I'm okay with the Batman getting delayed. Take your time.
Yeah.
Make it good. Stop microwaving dinosaur movies.
Can we just be done with the Jurassic Park franchise? Don't get me wrong. Yeah. The first Jurassic Park, iconic, okay, in its own right. But
we're just every year we're going to get at least one of these monster movies. Like that's what I'm calling.
No, monster movies are fine.
I know, but this is it. Just feels like the same, right? It's your King Kong, it's your Godzilla, your Jurassic. That
many times do the dinosaurs get out, dude?
Every time, apparently.
Like
we don't learn our lesson.
No, that's the worst part. You guys still don't learn after the first one murdered a lot of people.
We're surprised by this.
And then the second one, guess what? They murdered more people. And you're like, you know what? Let's have a third one. And did we learn? No.
Negative. No. Negatory.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
No, it does not.
You just got to be like that. Those professors aren't smart.
Stop following their advice, dang it.
No. So I'm going to say bust.
That's going to be a bust. There is no doubt. Yeah. Now, I will say Mahershala Ali is going to be in it. Scarlett Johansson's going to be in it. So they cast well. But I'm still not going to see it.
I don't care.
Nope. All right. Oh, this one looks interesting. Superman, yes. July 11th.
Do you want to talk about the trailer now? Or you want to wait till we're done?
Let's wait. Let's keep going on this track. Good question. July 11th, Superman, boom.
Yeah, this boom.
Large boom.
100%.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing. This is the only confirmed DC content besides Peacemaker, I think.
Sure.
Peacemaker season 2 might be coming out this next year. So I'm excited to see. I don't think this will be the only DC movie or show to come out.
Right.
So I'll be curious to see what else comes out. But no, we'll talk about the trailer. This looks good.
Yeah.
I'm not a Superman fan.
Yeah.
And this looks good. So I'm very encouraged.
No doubt. James Gunn, what a unique hat. One of the elements that makes him so unique is that in spite of his prodigious role, he spends a not small amount of time engaging via the social medias with fans, responding to questions.
Yes.
Nobody else does that. So kudos to him for choosing to take the time to provide that level of engagement. And one of his most recent responses in regards to, hey, help us understand kind of the overall pace of content here was that, hey, we're not going to make a movie or a show before we have a script that is completed. And so I think what we're going to have to get used to, whether we're thrilled about it or not, is that slower drip, if you will, of content.
Fine by me.
As long as they're good, I don't care. I'm frustrated if it's one a year and they are subpar, but if they're going to be great, phenomenal. I'm in no hurry. That's fantastic.
Agreed.
So, all right, continuing to move on. Hello, Fantastic Four First Steps. 2 weeks later on July 25th.
I'll say boom.
I got boom as well.
I got enough confidence in this one.
I do too. I think the cast is really strong. I think.
Do we see RDJ Doom?
I think we do, just a little bit. Not any real substance, but hard not to see him in a post-credits scene. I'm fascinated by the path they're choosing with these characters. I love these characters. No idea still really what to expect for what the world's going to look like that we get them in. The Jetsons, as we've said multiple times, is what it looks and feels like.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be a negative. I think it's going to be a real positive overall. So looking forward to actually getting a trailer for this bad boy, hopefully in the next month or so. So anyway, Fantastic Four First Steps. This one is just for me. The Naked Gun on August 1st. This is a remake of a either late 80s or early 90s. Had to be late 80s. Comedy spoof, cop spoof film starring the late Leslie Nielsen with a, God bless him, also now the late O.J. Simpson as one of his police partners, Officer Nordberg.
O.J. Simpson is dead?
O.J. Simpson, yeah. Yeah, you missed that news? Boy, I hope I didn't just shillelagh myself here. Now you got me doubting. Oh, yeah. Okay. Died back in April. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, this year he died.
Yeah. Oh, man, you made me really nervous there. Did I just do that wrong? Anyway, the original is abso-freaking-lutely hilarious. An all-time classic comedy. So many great jokes. And you don't have to watch the whole movie. Just YouTube The Naked Gun and treat yourself to a good 5-minute spiel, and you'll get the whole gist of what it's all about. But truly, if you want to give yourself a good 90 minutes worth of hilarious entertainment, just watch the movie. It's fantastic. One of your Lonely Island boys is, I believe, directing the film.
Is it Jorm or is it
Nope.
Oh, what's the other one's name?
Yep. Akiba?
Yep.
Yep. He's directing it. So
wait, who's the star in it again?
Oh my gosh, who's leading
this? Is it
this?
Andy?
No.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Don't ask me how this works, because I truly don't understand how it works. You will never guess this. You will never guess who this is. Liam Neeson.
You know what? I love it.
This could be absolutely dreadful, of course. And I'm not putting it on here because I think it's going to be a boom. I'm going to say it's going to be a bust, but I just love the original so much, I had to toss it on here.
That's comedy.
So there you go. It's going to be a bust, but there's my roses to you, Mr. Draven. August 1st, The Naked Gun. All right, Eyes of Wakanda on August 6th. Another show on Disney Plus.
Look,
animated variety.
I'm nervous.
Sure.
But I'll say boom. The premise is there to be really, really cool because it's going through all the different Black Panthers throughout time.
This should be a boom.
Should be a boom.
This should be a boom.
There's no reason to be a bust.
No. We just talked about, the John Wick universe having all kinds of available paths that are worthwhile from a storytelling perspective. The history of Wakanda is right there in that same category. So boom me up for this one. All right, Marvel Zombies, October 3rd. Bust. I hate zombies.
Don't care.
No. Don't care.
I'll say bust as well.
No. Moving on. The Running Man, November 7th. Why is this on here? Glenn Powell, love him. He's the lead in this. That's all I know about it.
Okay.
That's why it's there. Glenn, love you. Get yourself in a Green Lantern suit ASAP. All right. Wicked Part 2 comes out on Thanksgiving.
I don't care. Money-wise, I'm sure that'll be a boom.
My wife saw it, said it was phenomenal. I'm sure I'll see it at some point.
It's gross.
Everybody has absolutely loved it. So there you go. Wicked Part 2, Thanksgiving. And then, of course, Wonder Man.
I have...
Bust.
Yeah.
Bust.
I'll call bust too.
Bust.
I have no...
It's going to be bad.
It's not.
It's going to be bad.
And look,
this just gets delayed.
I like the main guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I think he'll be fine.
Right. Former Black Manta.
The story's going to be skeptical at best. So I'm
absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. It's going to be terrible.
I'm going to say bust.
Big bust. Maybe the biggest bust on this list.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Not the biggest, but.
Yeah, definitely not the biggest. Biggest is ballsy.
But it's up there. Okay. Before we get into the top 5, hey, circling back, Superman dropped the trailer, Riles.
Yes, he did.
My gosh.
Yes, he did.
Give me your reaction. What'd you love?
It was good. First of all, the guitar.
Hello.
Phenomenal.
That music was great.
I hope they play that in the actual movie.
Correct.
For right before the final fight.
Well, I sent you the YouTube
dead.
video of the Florida man playing the electric guitar before a Jacksonville Jaguars game a couple years ago.
Yes.
Awesome. YouTube that sucker.
Have you seen the video where they timed the Iron Man theme song to when he snaps his fingers? Ding, ding,
sure.
Ding.
Haven't seen it.
And he times it perfectly with I am Iron Man when he says it, and then it hits. Yep. Oh, dude. That's awesome. Okay, we'll see if we have to find that. Yeah, so the electric guitar, beautiful on this. Yeah, no, you don't get much, and that's great. Yeah, so I'm all good with it.
I thought there was so little dialogue.
Loved it.
It just allowed the visuals that we were shown, the music, which was the play on the original, John Williams score. It was... It was terrific. I loved the tone of the trailer.
Agreed.
Yep.
Lex Luthor is going to steal the show in this movie. I'm going to call it right now. I'm calling my shot. He's going to be the highlight, best part of this movie. Because Nicholas Holt's a very good actor.
I think you're absolutely right on that. It's a
So
great call.
they did a really interesting job at teasing the Justice Society in this as well. They didn't hide those guys at all.
No, I love that they showed us all those additional characters that we know are going to be in the movie.
You highlighted the bold cut in the notes. Look, I won't lie to you. If Nathan Fillion was 20 years older, I mean, he's Guy Gardner, 100%. He's got the face. He pulls off the bowl cut very well. And from what I understand, he'll be in the Green Lanterns show moving forward. Fantastic. Oh, this is great. You do want to kind of hit him in the face.
100%.
Perfect.
100%.
Jeez, what's his name? Mr. Terrific looked good.
Yes, he did.
I don't remember.
Hot Girl.
Yes, she looked good.
Yep.
So yeah, as long as they're influence there.
Metamorpho.
Yes, that, you know what? I forgot he was in that movie because when he shows up, I'm like,
right?
What is that? No, that makes more sense. Yeah, he's been through some stuff, so I'm excited. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I think as far as the first impression goes, it was really strong. The visuals were terrific. The fact that it felt like they showed a lot, but also they did not show too much, if that distinction makes sense. Like we got to see, I think, all the characters that are going to play significant roles in the movie, with a couple exceptions, of course.
Yes.
But I loved that the bowl cut. Okay, we've been around James Gunn enough to know that he loves a good Joker 12 in his movies. That haircut is going to get made fun of so much in the movie. So for those people that are freaking out, going, "Oh, it looks terrible," it's supposed to. That's the point. It's going to be in there for comedic effect, and because Guy Gardner is a douche, and so he wants that haircut so that people will pick fights with him so that he can then go ahead and finish the fight. That's just his style.
Yeah.
He's looking for a reason.
Look him up. Look up Guy Gardner. He's never not had a bowl cut.
No.
And does it always look ridiculous?
He's always had terrible hair.
Actually, you know what's even better is when he's a Red Lantern and he has that firefighter mustache too.
Yes.
Anyways,
I would have loved to have seen more clear images of Hawk Girl.
Yes.
Because this is a really weird reference, but when we saw the Black Adam movie, Hawkman looked fantastic.
Yes, he did.
He looked terrific.
Yes, he did.
It wasn't a great movie, but he looked incredible. So I'm excited to see what Hawk Girl looks like. Mr. Terrific should be a phenomenal character. Lois Lane looks like Lois Lane. The whole aesthetic felt a bit retro. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all, because they're setting it was just a little, I'm going to say, odd for me, because this movie is set in modern day, but it has a retro feel. So I wasn't sure exactly or entirely what to do with that.
I think it works, though.
Yeah, I think it'll work. I do. Here was my question. So at one point in the trailer, Superman is fighting someone, like wrestling with somebody. And there are folks that have pointed out that particular individual who's suited up from head to toe has a big U on the front. And so it draws obvious correlation to the character of Ultraman in the comics, who is a essentially evil version of Superman. I'm going to say right now, I don't think that's who that is.
No,
it's not who that is.
First of all, I think it's way too bold to bring Earth 2 in, or Earth 3.
No, Earth 2 is right.
Earth 2?
Yep.
Way too bold to be bringing them in right away, especially
essentially the inversion of our Earth. So in other words, whoever's good in our Earth is evil in Earth 2.
You need to have the Justice League established before you bring them in to make that more worthwhile. And I did see people say Henry Cavill should play Earth 2 Superman. That'd be phenomenal. Anyways,
whoa.
Yes. So, anywho, I don't think so. I think they're going to keep that character very under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Parasite.
Sure.
Maybe it's I don't think it'll be like Doomsday or anything.
No.
Maybe it's Lex Luthor's suit.
That's what I thought it was first and foremost, but then there was another scene where Lex and this character are standing side by side, so it's like, okay, probably not. I'm halfway wondering if it's not Supergirl.
Maybe.
Suited up head to toe. There's a reason that character is covered from head to toe.
There's also a very good chance that whatever that character is looking like on screen is not actually what that character is going to look like. They do it all the time with trailers.
Please see Hulk in Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Yep.
That way James can keep his secrets.
No question.
So
No question.
I'm good with it. Yeah, it will not be Ultraman. No way.
Yeah. Yep. I think it was a great first impression. Here's my one ask, okay? Just don't lean too much into crypto, okay? Is it fine that he's in the movie? Of course. But let's just not go overboard here, all right? I don't want a movie about a heroic dog. I want a movie about Superman. Crypto's a great add-on, but let's just not get carried away. I'm a little nervous about that for some reason.
You should
probably
be
picking nits.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay.
If you like Cosmo in Guardians 3,
Yeah.
I think you'll.
That's what we're going to
fine.
get?
And,
Okay.
well, yeah,
Got it.
but
Great.
here's the thing.
Great.
He doesn't speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one less thing, right? So he'll probably have like one clutch save,
Sure.
you know, and
Sure.
then maybe get booted like Ron Burgundy's dog gets booted. The only problem I have with Crypto is honestly the breed of dog. Crypto being that smaller-esque,
Sure.
kind of
Needs to be a
fluffier
little
dog.
bigger. Yep.
I told you, I was like, why is that not like a lab, like a white lab
Sure.
or a
Yep.
Great Dane? Great Dane's obviously maybe
probably a
too
little
big.
too big, but lab size.
It's
is
a
about right.
white lab.
Yeah, not a lap dog.
Or adjacent to a white
Yep.
lab.
Yep.
Because Crypto always looks jacked,
Mm.
like whenever you see him. And that looks like a strong dog. This just looks like a pet. So
Good point.
I'll be interested.
No, good point.
I think he'll be fine. I think James Gunn can reel that in just a little bit. So
Super excited for this. Obviously, here's what this trailer does that is so solid. There both is and isn't a lot to chew on there. There's plenty to see and get excited about.
it's a perfect teaser.
It's a perfect teaser, no question. Anything else on the Superman trailer front, my
No.
friend? Yeah, I'm just glad we had it. All right, well, let's get into it's time for another classic JP and the Beans top 5. These are going to be our top 5 movies and or shows that we are most excited for in 2025. Beans, you go first.
Yes. So, yes. Top 5 2025 movies and show predictions at number 5. I think this will be number 5 on the list when we're all said and done.
That's great.
Captain America 4.
Mhm.
Look, I know I kind of chat all over it.
You hedged. I wouldn't say you shat, but you hedged.
Yes, and I still have my qualms,
Yeah.
but DC doesn't have a lot coming out. And out of all the Marvel stuff we're getting, like, this is going to be solid.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the best? No, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be better than most of what we got last year.
Right.
Outside of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got it at 5 for all the reasons we already discussed.
This is going to be kind of controversial, but truthfully, that one's not even going to be in my top 5.
That's fair. No, it's 100% fair.
And I hope it exceeds those expectations, but it's just not there for me. For me, my number 5 is Andor season 2. I really, really enjoyed season 1 of Andor, and there is all kinds of potential for season 2 to pick up from where season 1 left off and just run with it and be absolutely solid. And so, from a storytelling perspective, from a character development point of view, it was tremendous content. Like Star Wars, not even being a qualifier, it was just excellent. It was outstanding. And any content, like for the praises that we sung of the Penguin show, right? You could sing similar praises to Andor. Like it's just that good of a character developing show that I'm very excited to get another season of that type of content. So that's my number 5. My number 4, okay, and we count here, make sure I'm not loading here. Okay. My number 4 is going to be Fantastic Four. First Steps. See what I did there? 4 for 4.
Yeah, you know what? That should have been my 5.
That's okay. That's my number 4. Having in the last, 18 or so months, read the Jonathan Hickman run on Fantastic Four, brought me not even a new, but just a actual appreciation for those characters that I wouldn't say I had previously. Makes me very excited to get them into the MCU. So I hope they don't get lost in the muddle of, hey, alternate universe, getting brought into the Earth 616 proper universe. I hope that doesn't, let's say, damage those characters from a storytelling perspective. That's my only qualm here. But overall, I'm very much looking forward to that movie.
Yeah, to me, they have such an easier in to the MCU than all the mutants coming in.
Yep.
So, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll work out.
Yeah. I'm hopeful.
Secret Wars can fix whatever mistakes were made. So,
yep, no question. So that's my number 4. Fantastic.
Solid. My number 4 is Ironheart. For all the things we talked about earlier, I'm excited for the Hood mainly. This is where I'm riding. I'm ride or die for the Hood, and I swear to God, if he sucks, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So that's where I'm at with it. That's my number 4. My number 3 is Thunderbolts. This is a solid number 3. Very hyped for this movie. The trailers have done a really good job at that part, getting us all hyped up. We're getting a Sentry. Oh, that's the most exciting part of all of it. To be honest, I like Bucky, don't get me wrong, but we're getting Sentry, we're getting new characters, fantastic. That's my number 3.
More time with U.S. Agent.
That's true too.
Cool. Yeah, it's a crime that Thunderbolts won't end up on my list as well. So
wow.
Sorry, I know. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is my number 3. So I love the Mission Impossible movies. They are just ceaselessly entertaining, and it's one of the few movie franchises that every few years I'll come back to and rewatch because they're just so dang entertaining. So all the respect in the world to Tom Cruise and his collection of cast members. They put on a great show, and I'm very excited for this, the maybe final mission. My number 2, Daredevil Born Again. Can it be March already? It's not. I would like it to be because holy smokes. Truly, I need to pinch myself. We're here. Charlie Cox.
I know.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
It's been so long.
Kidding?
I know.
Are you kidding? John Bernthal?
The drought is almost over.
Oh my gosh. This is great. It's so exciting that we're getting those individuals back in those roles. And I know we've already seen our boy Vincent in Echo. That was a delight. Now we're getting him squared up with Daredevil once again. And this is an elite of elite comic storylines. So hopefully, and I think it will, the name of the show will live up to the name of the comic that's based off of. That's my number 2, Daredevil Born Again.
My number 2 is Superman. I am excited to see what James Gunn is going to do with this character.
Right.
That's kind of where, because like I said, I've never been a big Superman guy. Right. When it comes to DC, Superman always kind of vanilla, and you need one of those guys.
Sure, the straight man.
Yes, exactly. So I understand where Superman's value is. I have just never been one of those guys that are like, oh my God, he can do everything. It's awesome, right? Yeah. But with James Gunn behind the wheel, I might actually get into Superman. I've always been more interested in his rogues gallery than anything with him himself. So, right. I got Superman at number 2.
That's great.
My number 1 is Daredevil,
of course,
Born Again. Okay, I'm
great
already yes, and I'm already guaranteeing I know what your one is. That it makes sense.
Yeah, we're just
yes, exactly. So, for all the reasons we already discussed, Daredevil is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We're finally getting back to the grit. I think Muse is going to be perfect. The fact that we're going to get a reluctant team up between Kingpin and Daredevil, and just Kingpin trying to figure out when he's going to backstab Daredevil, and Daredevil waiting for the backstab. Bullseye, I think, is somewhere in here. You got the Punisher roaming around. Like, they got some dudes in this movie or in this show that are coming, and I'm so glad we're taking all the things that worked for the Netflix shows and we're making them canon.
Yep, no question.
And then the other thing that you have to think about too is how this is going to impact Spider-Man moving forward, because it's going to.
Yep.
So to have Daredevil with Spidey, we're here. I'm so pumped, dude. I'm so pumped. That's my number 1.
I love that. Well, it's a worthy number 1. Yeah, my number 1 is Superman. And partially not just for the character of Superman, okay? I am, in general, I err on the DC side. Not saying that it's better. I just have read more DC content on the comics side. Love the Marvel content as well. But I would love for DC to get out of its own way in the movie making business. And this movie, the weight upon it is enormous. It is. Because if it completely flops, listen, there's no reason why they can't pull the plug. It's not like they're too far down the line on production of other DC works, right? Matt Reeves' Batman, for example, can just keep doing its thing. It's not tied or tethered in any way to the success or failure of this movie. This movie doesn't have to be the best movie we've ever seen, but it's got to work.
Yep.
And I do think that it's going to. I'm hopeful that it's going to. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing what it is that James Gunn has in store, because if nothing else, what that man has done well, both in the Marvel side and then with the Suicide Squad, is he has handled a large cast of characters in movie after movie after movie and made it work at a very high level. And I think that's probably the best thing that could be done for Superman, because he is that one character where expectations have never been his friend. I still carry the torch for Man of Steel being a good movie, not the best, but a good movie. And I think expectations hurt that movie in so many ways for what some, because we all come into a Superman movie with some idea in our mind of what it is that Superman should be or is going to be. According to the galaxy, dude, none of us knew. Like,
right.
Excuse me? There's a raccoon in a tree. What the flip is going on? So, different challenge, and yet I think if James Gunn can, and I do believe he is and will approach it in a similar fashion of, hey, let's not make just one character the focal point or the only character of significance, is what I should say, in this story. I think that's going to do Superman so many favors to have other characters around him that are worthwhile. I think it's going to help him to shine as well as he has in some time. So,
agreed.
Number one, Superman. There it is.
Sweet.
Bean's great top 5. Well done, sir.
We did it.
Anything else for the good bean?
No, that was a lot of meat on the bone. Way to end the year of 2024.
How about that?
Crazy.
Looking forward to 2025. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh, dude. It's...
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
We're slowly getting there.
Yeah, let the anticipation build. Oh. Let's get after it.
There you go. Well, on that note, Godspeed.
Peace.